Ms Legalista here. Welcome to the video. We're going to be talking about insurance companies flying drones over people's property and then sending them a, hey, we are no longer going to be providing you with insurance coverage. I want to go to this CBS video. The videos, they titled it, Woman Renovating Home Loses Insurance Over Drone Captured Images of Clutter, unsanitary conditions. Look, this is something that's been in the news for a while. I did a Google search. Look at what popped up. This is not anything that you should take lightly. If you're doing some renovations at your home, if you have some debris in your yard, if you haven't kept things looking as well as they could look, your insurance carrier might be sending out drones, might be using satellite imagery to take a look at your property, see all that's going on and saying, hey, we're not going to use you anymore as a client. We're going to let you go. Let's go to the video.
A Modesto viewer says her insurer dropped her over what it spotted from the air.
So it was time to call Curtis to investigate.
Curtis.
We wanted to know if insurance companies are putting up drones over neighborhoods looking for reasons to drop you. A 3+ year entire home makeover inside and out. The driveway transformed from this to this.
That's nice.
The kitchen is now updated, and so is the bathroom. Several $100,000 in work.
What was it like to finally get the remodel work done?
It was amazing. It was wonderful because it took forever.
But then Joan Van Kuren got this from her
Notice
home
it's
insurance company
non-renewal.
of nearly 4 decades. AAA was dropping her, citing a substantial increase in hazard with clutter or unsanitary conditions. The letter called it an unacceptable hazard and liability exposure. So Joan called them.
She said they flew a drone over the home. It just felt like we were being spied on. And
Okay, so they flew a drone over her home. At least that's what she is saying she was told. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, hey, doesn't that violate my right to privacy? This is my home. This is where I live. In some cases, I may even have family, young children there with me. Isn't there an expectation of privacy for my home? Well, it depends. If you're talking about just the outside of your home, if people on the street can see the facade, if they can see your backyard from where they are, well, then it doesn't make sense to be able to say that there's some expectation of privacy there. It's no different than if you're driving in your car on a street and you pass someone, they can see you. They can see you. They can see your car. It's when you get inside, you get beyond the walls, you get beyond the fences where there might be more of an expectation of privacy. Let me pull up this one law case here. One of the things you'll see, this actually had to do with the government, and this is so tiny, I really can hardly see this without my glasses. So these officers used an airplane to swoop, it says to snoop on a backyard. The observations by the officers in this case took place within public navigable airspace in a physically non-intrusive manner. From this point, they were able to observe plants, you know what kind of plants we're talking about here, readily discernible to the naked eye as to what these plants were. That the observation from aircraft was directed at identifying the plants, and the officers were trained to recognize this is irrelevant. It says such observation is precisely what a judicial officer needs to provide for a basis for a warrant. Any member of the public flying in this airspace who glanced down, anybody flying in this public airspace who glanced down could have seen everything that these officers observed. On this record, we readily conclude that respondent's expectation that his garden was protected from some observation is unreasonable, and it is not an expectation that society is prepared to honor. So part of what the court said is, hey, they didn't go beyond the bounds of what someone would consider, because all of these other people could see it too. The officers didn't really do anything that anybody else couldn't have done, right? So yeah, so expectation of privacy. You have to be in a place where you would ordinarily think that people are not going to be able to observe you. Now, yes. So here's what we're talking about. All right, let's go back to this video here.
And there was debris on what they consider the left side of the home.
What's there? The final phase of the project, Jones says, an old planter filled with dirt, about to get some rocks, and a few old tires.
Did they give you any opportunity to fix this?
Absolutely not.
So they fired you.
Correct.
Out of curiosity, we zoomed into Jones' home on a Google Earth search. You could see the concrete work all around the house, and zipping around to the back, you could see the unfinished side yard with some clutter. When
I love Google Earth.
I reached out to AAA, the company denies it flies drones, saying it uses several sources of information to assess the condition of properties, including aerial imagery captured by third-party fixed-wing aircraft and satellites.
Yes. Oh, let me go back because I want to talk about this for a second. So basically, and this lady's going to say the very same thing. They're basically saying, oh, no. Those were not our drones. We did not send drones up over this person's property to take a look at it. But we may have used some third-party sources that provided us with imagery and photos that we could then make a determination on regarding the property. And that could have been fixed-wing aircraft, drones, satellites, anything else hovering above the earth. And it could have included something like Google Earth. And I'm going to show you Google Earth of where I live. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. But let's hear what else she has to say about this.
And satellites.
It's not their drone. It doesn't really matter, does it? No.
Consumer advocate Amy Bach with the United Policyholder says, ask to see the specific images your insurer is using to drop you so you could clear up any misconceptions.
And let me stop there too. So here's the thing too. We might not be talking just about your backyard or your front yard or what's in your driveway. It could be that they have hovered over the wrong property. It could be that it's not even your property. So one of the things that you do want to do is to follow up with that insurance company.
Sometimes these images are blurry, assuming that the image is showing a damaged roof. What the drone picked up as damage was actually a solar panel.
Joan thinks she's paid AAA $80,000 over the years, including for her car insurance. But after this, she's now fired AAA, taking her car insurance business elsewhere.
The gentleman said to me, is there any conversation we could have to keep you? I said to him, there is absolutely no freaking way.
Well, AAA says if you disagree with their findings, you could submit your own documents and images to get them to change their mind. She did request the images AAA used to drop her, but says AAA never supplied them.
All right, we can wrap that segment up. Look, you gotta love it when the agent comes back with, is there any conversation that we could have that would keep you on board? Well, of course not. She has now gone to call Curtis on CBS 13. And after Curtis has investigated, and, she is not happy about this. Of course, she's not happy about this. She says, I'm taking my business elsewhere. But let me bring back up for you let's see if I can pull up this. Okay, so Google Earth. So I don't know how many of you have ever tried Google Earth. Let me know in the comments. I love Google Earth. I love the swirling and down and watching it do its thing. I'm in love with Google Earth. But I want to go to what my neighborhood looks like. So this is where I am. And I tried to, what do I want to say? Close on in or zone in or whatever you call it. I don't know. I tried to get closer to my property. And here's the thing. You can see that there are tons of trees here, tons of trees. It makes it really hard for a drone to observe from an inobtrusive sort of state. Remember what I said in that case that I shared that information with you. Now, again, that had to do with the government not having to, have a warrant for that. Remember, they said anybody flying at that height could see the very same thing. in this case, I've got all of these trees in my neighborhood. I've got tons of trees in my yard. It's unlikely that somebody flying in an airplane is going to really be able to distinguish what's going on in my yard. Now, satellite imagery is entirely different because it really can get a lot closer, and the technology allows it to get really detailed. So if there are companies that are out there that are providing that kind of imagery to your insurance company, they may be looking at my property going, well, okay, what's that stack of stuff over there? What's over there by the garbage cans? I don't know. Maybe we don't like her property anymore. We think it's too hazardous and has unsanitary conditions. I don't know. They may say that. With a drone, you're going to run into the same sort of thing. You're going to have to come down at a level beneath the trees in order to really be able to see. And I think a court would likely have an issue with that. But in this case, they said third party. It sounds like satellite imagery way, 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 way up in the stars there, and some other services that they may be utilizing. But I don't know. This should give you pause if you're thinking, well, wait a second, maybe I need to take a look at my own yard on Google Earth and see how it looks, to see what kind of coverage that I have that might protect me from the insurance company being able to, swoop down and sort of snoop and see what's going on in my yard. But yeah, so check it out on Google Earth. Decide if your yard needs some fixing or cleaning up. I know mine probably does. Hopefully this will give you some insight into what's going on with insurance companies and what they're doing now when they're sending out these notices of non-renewal. And hopefully this keeps you informed. So don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Peace.